Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Today I wanted to talk to you about Mylar bags because after I go through all this, we're going to go ahead and seal some Mylar bags up so you can see how I do it. What I have here is on the bottom is one I can put in a 6-gallon bucket or a 5-gallon bucket. It is the thickest that they make, and I got this from SorbentSystems.com. I also purchased from them these oxygen absorbers, and it is 1,000 cc's, and there's 20 in here. These are 5 years old, and they are still pink. So they do last for a long time as long as you don't puncture the outside. Now, with you putting in a 5-gallon bucket, what you want to do is you want to put the Mylar bag in the bucket and then start filling up what you're going to put in there. When it gets enough weight behind it, you want to shake it down. And then, of course, you want to fold it over and get as much air out of it as possible. Put a 1,000 cc oxygen absorber in it. And then there are multiple ways you can seal it up. You can seal it up with a flat iron for your hair, and that's what I use. It takes 1, 2, now mine does both. I can hit it twice on one side before I run out of room, twice on the other side before I run out of room. Then I just have to push the air out and do one diagonal hit. And I put it on the hottest, and I do it for 10 to 12 seconds, and it seals it up perfectly. I don't like doing the iron because, as you can see, this is really big. It doesn't necessarily fit out of easily, and I seem to be pretty awkward with the iron. But you can do an iron. You take a 2x4 laid across the top, put a towel or something on it, a thin one, because you don't want it not to seal. And then run your iron across it. And you can do it that way. Now, there's a misconception that people have. If your bag doesn't suck up, then it's not sealed properly. That is an inaccurate statement. And you have to remember, depending on how much oxygen you have in here, space is space. An oxygen absorber can only absorb so much oxygen. That doesn't mean it doesn't take all the oxygen out, it just doesn't take all the airspace out. So it can absorb it. Now, you gotta remember different things have densities, and I'll show you something really nice here in a minute that helps you out with that. Once you open your oxygen absorbers, get a mason jar that is closest to the size of the oxygen absorbers you have, and you can seal them up in that. You can also take your seal meal, and if there's enough space, you can reseal it. I do not recommend using a seal meal bag to seal up your oxygen absorbers. It's just not the same quality and density to stop the oxygen from going in. But if you can reseal these bags, that works too. All of these bags come with a dot, and the minute you open them, that dot should turn colors. If it doesn't, it should start to turn. If it doesn't, that means your dot's not working. And these will be really hard and stiff. I know they look hard and stiff right now, but that's because they're all the oxygen's removed out of there, and things get really stiff and hard when the oxygen's gone. But when you open these up, they should be pliable and not feel like lumps of something. They should feel like sand, you know. So I really like these from Sorbent Solutions. Now, that's the 5-6 gallon size. This is the 1 gallon size. And as you can see, the size difference is quite a bit. 2 of these. You can also buy one of these big ones, cut it in half, seal, and make 4 bags out of this if you needed to. And I've got several hundred of those left. So this is another one from Sorbent Solutions. It is the same mil thickness as this one, and it holds 1 gallon. So this is what you would probably put your number 10 cans in if that's what you wanted to put size for freeze drying or food storage. As you can see, this one's only partially full because I'm going to open this one up and show you hamburger on one of my videos. how freeze-dried hamburgers rehydrate. So, the same premise, you put an oxygen absorber. In this one, it's 1,000 cc's. In this one, you can do 3 to 500 cc's, depending on what's in there. And you can also put 1,000 in there, but you have to be careful because oxygen absorbers do release a small amount of moisture. So it's important not to put too much in there. And I think I actually put 2 of these in my 6-gallon buckets when I did that. So that was 2,000 cc's, so I apologize for that. So that's size number 2. Now these 2 are just about the same size. This one is from HarvestRight, and it is the same thickness, almost. Let me see. Yeah, it's the same thickness as the ones I got from SorbentSystems, HarvestRight.com. It is called, sorry, my dog started my Roomba. Okay, yes, I have a Roomba. I love my Roomba. So it is the same thickness as SorbentSystems. It's smaller than the 1 gallon, much smaller. It has little tear tabs on the sides to open it. And in those, you use a 100 cc, I believe is what it is. I'm sorry, it's a 300 cc in these. So you would put a 300 cc in here, get as much air out of it, and then seal it up. These are ones I got out of Amazon, and they were actually quite inexpensive. It was like $22, $23. I'll put the link below. And they came with the oxygen absorbers of 300 cc's. And what I really like about that is they came in packs of 10. And so you can open 10 up at a time and either seal them back up by putting them in your sealing meal, or you can put them in a jar like I do. It's just easier for me because I'm back and forth and back and forth. These are much thinner, so I do recommend that you store these in a barrel. Now, they came with some really interesting information. And of course I can't find it right now. Isn't that horrible? They come with an instruction sheet on what requires how much cc's. And you're only required 100 cc, but they upgraded due to ensuring the freshness of it and making sure everything worked good for you. They upgraded your oxygen absorbers for any of the sizes that you get. And what is really interesting is HarvestRight has the opening on the top where the little tabs are, and they have theirs on the bottom where the tab. And so I kind of like these, but again, I think they need to be stored in a tote or something like that. So let me go ahead and get ready, and I will show you how these work in a sealing meal. So these 2 bags are the same size, the HarvestRight and the ones I got on Amazon. HarvestRight has a nice spot on the front to put your contents, your date, and anything else you want to put. Also, it has rip tabs at the opening, so once you seal it, you can rip it open. And we'll show you what that looks like. These are the ones from Amazon. No place to write, and the rip tab is on the opposite side of where you seal it. So this is all going to be thrown away when you seal it. And I'll show you how far from the top, which is just about that amount if you use your sealing meal. Now both of these can be used in your sealing meal. The big, real thick ones that I have and my 1 gallon ones are too thick to use in the sealing meal. But the HarvestRight 1 quart and the cheapy 1 quarts from Amazon can be used in your sealing meal. So let's show you how we do that. So this is the HarvestRight, and I've got lunch meat in it. And now you don't necessarily want to get all the air out of your container because it may swoosh it. So this works out really good. What I'm going to do today is going to take one oxygen absorber out and fold this over until I'm done. Stick an oxygen absorber into it, set it in front of your seal-a-meal, put your hand down around it to get your air out. Once you do, kind of tip this, and then you can grab it and seal it. Now for this other one, it also has lunch meat in it. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take an oxygen absorber out, fold it over, stick it in there. Once again, get as much air as you can out. Unless you have a trail something, seal-a-meal, you gotta wait a couple seconds in between. So push your hands around it gently and get the air out. Now I wanted to show you what it looks like after about 30 minutes by just doing it with the seal-a-meal. Do you see how the dimples are showing up on there? It's just very, very airtight already. But not all of yours will be that way. So now I want to show how to do a meal. What I have here is mashed potatoes that I freeze-dried. Yeah, they're fresh mashed potatoes, but they're here in the bottom. So now I'm going to take this parchment paper and I'm going to slide it in. And it doesn't matter if it gets bunched up. You can cut it to fit, but I just want to kind of do a separation between the mashed potatoes and the meat. And just kind of line it up in there. All right, once you get it lined up in there, you want to go ahead and pour your meat in. Now, mine was a hamburger pie, is basically what I made. And so I scooped up the mashed potatoes and then did the meat separately. So now I have 2 layers in there, and it's labeled beef and mashed potatoes. So you can do it that way. If you're using the 1-gallon bags, you can actually fit these 2 different seal-a-meals in your 1-gallon bag side by side. Works really well. But you want to cut a slit in the seal-a-meal bag to let the oxygen be eaten up. And then seal it. I almost forgot. When you're done with your O2 absorbers, you want to get all the oxygen you can out of them, and you want to seal them back up. Now I do recommend you save your old bags if you're doing large quantities like I'm doing, but save these, because if you're opening these packages individually to like maybe 3 or 4 at a time, this bag is going to slowly get smaller and smaller, and pretty soon it won't fit the oxygen absorber and make it into your seal-a-meal. So if you save these old ones, you always have a way to get it resealed back up. Because see how much it weighs? There's the seal. So you got to keep that in mind. I can only reseal this twice, maybe twice. It might not even fit the second time. If there's only 1 or 2 left, it will. So if you have 10 of them in here, you want to save these, okay? And I'll show you here in a few minutes how we do the 5-gallon buckets. Here's an example of a used oxygen absorber. It's got big lumps and it's really hard. And this is an example of a fresh one, and it sounds like sand. So we're going to put that in there, take the old one out, and get as much air as you can out of it. We take the hot iron, and we start at one end, and you just take it to the pads, and hold it. And then this one, you can actually slide it up and go even further. Now the heating element only is this far, but you have a nice big gap here that you can bring it further back. And then you go to the other side and do the same thing. Get as much air out of it as you can. And you don't have to worry too much about that until you're doing the final one. Now, since this bag is cockeyed, I can probably go here and do that like that rather easily. You see that? Now, your final, that's when you want to get all the oxygen out. And bring all those ends in, and then just hit the final one. And there you go. That's all there is to it to seal a Mylar bag. As you can see, I have them in a candy jar. Blessings!